So now let's move on to the part B of question number 3, right? What we have to do, we have to find the value of C here, right, and D here, right? So we will use a property of parallelogram here, and that says that that's a property of quadrilaterals, all shapes with four sides and four angles, right? Sum of all angles inside quadrilaterals equal 360 degree. So this angle plus this angle plus this angle and plus this one angle, right, it will equal 360 degree. First thing. Now the second thing is that that's a parallelogram, and I told you in the previous question that opposite angles inside a parallelogram are equal, opposite interior angles. So this one is opposite to this one, so it means 4c will equal 2d. Exactly, this 4c will equal 2d. Now here we have a 5c, so right, so this is its opposite interior angle will be this one, and it will equal 5c exactly. So I'll write it as 5c. So now sum of all angles inside quadrilaterals equal 360 degree. So I'll write it as angle I'll first mention ADC plus angle DCB, angle DCB plus CBA angle CBA plus angle BAD, right, this one BAD. Angle BAD equals 360 degree. Mention the reason. What's the reason? Sum of all angles inside quadrilateral equal 360 degree. That's the law, right? So I have mentioned the angles. Now do I rename it as per we are given, right? Angle ADC that equals 5c. So instead of writing ADC, I'll write 5c degree plus angle DCB equals 2d degree, right, plus angle CB and A, that is 5c plus 5c degree, and plus angle angle BA and D, this one 4c degree, right, equals 360 degree, right? So now moving on, next thing, we'll add these values up. 5c plus 5c plus 4c, it will equal 14c, right, and plus 2d degree equals 360 degree, right? Now since I told you that these two opposite interior angles are equal, why? Because in parallelogram opposite interior angles are equal, that's a law. So whether I write 2d degree or 4c, it doesn't matter. So I'll write it as 4c degree equals 2d degree. I'll mention the reason why. Because they are opposite interior angles inside parallelogram, opposite interior angles of parallelogram. So I'll mention the reason. So now whether I write 2d or 4c doesn't matter. So what I will do is I'll write 14c plus I'll write 4c here instead of 2d equals 360 degree. So I'll add these both up. 14 plus 4 equals 18c, that equals 360 degree. So now c equals 360 divided by 18, right? So now moving on, c degree equals, if you divide 360 by 18, 20 degree, right? So now we found the value of c degree, right? Now what we are not what we have to find is d, right, here, that we are given. So we are not given, right, we are not given d here, so we have to find its value. Since I wrote here that 4c equals 2d, right, so I'll use this again. 4c, I'll write this again, equals 2d, right? So now I know the value of c. Shall I put the value here? Right, of course. 4 into c equals 20. Instead of writing c, I'll write 20 equals 2t. 4 into 20 equals 80 degree, that equals 2t, right? So now 2 is in multiplication, right? 2 is in multiply, right? So if this 2 moves to another side of equation, it's in multiplication, so it converts to division, right? So divided by 2. So now we'll divide 80 by 2, that will equal d. So that's a rule of equation, that if anything on one side of an equation is in positive terms, if it moves to another side, it becomes negative. And if in on any side of if anything on one side of an equation is in negative terms and it moves to another side, it becomes positive. If anything on one side of an equation is in multiplication, right? So if it moves to another side, it converts to it divides with another thing, right? So now if it's in division, if here I would have anything like 3 4 and in division with d, so what would I would have done, I would have taken this that thing to this side of an equation and would have multiplied that, right? So that's the rule. So 80 divided by 2 equals d. So 80 divided by 2, if we divide 80 by 2, that equals 40 degree. So d equals 40 degree. This is how we will find the value of this one thing here, right? So there are two laws that we use here. First, sum of all angles inside quadrilateral equals 360 degree. Second law, that opposite interior angles in parallelogram are equal, right? And we use that law and we found the value of c and d.